to speak softly so I wouldn't scare you away. I folded all my feelings into words you wouldn't hear anyway. I stood right in front of you, still somehow out of view. I was loving you loudly, you were loving me through silence. I kept waiting for your eyes to notice I was fading. I kept hoping you'd reach out before I broke completely. You didn't see me, even when I cried. You didn't feel me, even when I tried. I gave you all the parts of me you never wanted to hold. I was right there, breaking slowly, but you didn't see me at all. I learned how to be patient with the way you pulled away. I told myself he's tired when love shouldn't feel this great. I smiled through conversations where my heart was begging you to ask me how I'm doing, like you used to do. I kept explaining my pain like it needed translation. I kept shrinking my needs so you wouldn't feel the weight of them. You didn't see me when I stayed up late, wondering why loving you started to feel like a mistake. I held on with shaking hands while you were letting go. I was right there, breaking slowly, but you didn't see me at all. If loving me was too much, why didn't you just say so? Why did you let me believe I was safe in your arms? I was screaming in silence. You were comfortable, I was losing myself, while you felt nothing at all. You didn't see me when I disappeared, little by little, every time you weren't here. I loved you in ways you never learned to receive. I was right there, falling apart, and you didn't see me. I stopped asking you to notice the day I finally noticed me. I never asked for roses on nights you couldn't spare. I just wanted honesty and for you to really care. I lowered all my expectations just to keep you close. I learned how to need nothing so you wouldn't feel exposed. I whispered all my feelings like there was something wrong. I made myself smaller so you could feel strong. asked for so little. Just your time, just your heart, just a sign that you noticed when I was falling apart. I didn't need perfection, I didn't need control. I just wanted to feel loved without begging for it all. I thanked you for the basics, like staying like a call. I'd praise you for not leaving when that should be normal. I told myself, be patient, love isn't meant to hurt. But every time you chose yourself, I learned my worth the worst. I carried all the silence so you wouldn't have to speak. I convinced myself my needs were too heavy, too deep. I asked for so little, just a matter to you, just to feel like loving me was something you wanted to do. I didn't need saving, I didn't need a role. I just wanted your effort, not excuses wrapped in hope. And loving me felt like pressure. Why didn't you let me go? Why did you let me believe that we were something more? I was starving in your presence, you're falling unaware. I was breaking every night while you slept without a care. I asked for so little, but it was too much somehow. I stopped asking you to choose me when you never knew how. I still believe in love, just not the way you did. Because love shouldn't feel like begging for the bare minimum. I asked for so little, and still you gave me less. I was the one starting conversations. You were already gone. I was counting all the silences. You said nothing was wrong. I held us together with apologies for things I didn't do. I was fighting for a future you never wanted to choose. I kept calling it a bad phase, I kept blaming the time. But love shouldn't feel this lonely when it's meant to be mine. I was loving you alone while you stood so far away. I was trying to save us, you were already halfway gone. I was holding on with both hands, you were loosening your grip. I was loving you with everything, and you were done with it. I remembered your favorite songs, you forgot my fears. I stayed when things got heavy, you disappeared. I spoke in careful sentences so you wouldn't shut down. I carried all the weight of us while you just watched me drown. I thought love meant patience, I thought it meant pain. I didn't know love dies when only one heart stays. I was loving you alone in a room built for two. I was fixing all the cracks while you walked right through. I kept choosing you daily, you stopped choosing me. I was loving you alone, and that's when I finally saw it clearly. You never said goodbye, you just stopped trying. You let me bleed quietly while you stayed comfortable. I wasn't asking for forever, I was begging for effort, but love can't survive when only one soul is present. I was loving you alone, and it broke me inside. Not because I loved too deeply, but because you didn't try. I don't hate you, I just understand now. Love shouldn't feel like survival when it's meant to feel like home. I didn't fail at loving you, I just love someone who stopped loving back. I remember the room was silent, except the way I broke. My hands were shaking on the table, I couldn't even choke the words. I wasn't asking for a miracle, I just needed you to stay. But you looked through me like my tears were in the way. I said I was hurting, you said nothing at all. Sometimes silence hurts louder than anything you could call. You heard me cry, you saw me fall apart. You watched my heart break open, and you didn't know that inch. You heard me cry right in front of you, and that's the moment I knew I was alone even with you. I apologized for my emotions like they were something wrong. I wiped my face and tried to smile so you wouldn't feel too involved. I thought love meant hold this storm when they can't stand on their own. But you stayed seated while I crumbled to the floor. I wasn't dramatic, I wasn't loud, I was just desperate to be held somehow. You heard me cry, you didn't reach for me. You let the space between us If you loved me then, why didn't you try? Why did my pain feel invisible? Standing in front of your eyes, I needed your arms. You needed distance, I needed comfort. You needed silence to hide me from. And that was enough to teach me supposed to be this rough. I don't replay the argument, I replayed it true, that I was breaking in your presence, and you chose not to. I stopped crying in front of you, because I learned you wouldn't catch me. You didn't fight for me, you didn't ask me to stay. You just nodded like this ending was already on its way. I thought leaving would scare you, I thought you'd feel the break, but you let me walk out quietly, like I was easy to erase. I replayed every moment, trying to find my mistake, but maybe loving me was never something you take. I was easy to lose, you barely hesitated. I was easy to leave, you looked so liberated. I held memories like anchors, you dropped them like weight. I was loving you deeply, you were already okay. You didn't text the next morning, didn't ask if I was fine. You moved on like I was just another chapter in time. I stayed awake for days, wondering how you were. You slept like nothing happened, like my absence didn't hurt. I thought I mattered more than the silence you chose, but you showed me the truth in how fast you let go. I was easy to lose, like I trained you to leave. I was easy to forget, like I was nothing you'd keep. I would have stayed and fixed us, you didn't wanna try. I was easy to lose, and that still breaks me inside. If I meant something to you, would you have tried to hold on, or was loving me just convenient until it wasn't anymore? I wasn't asking for perfection, I just wanted proof that losing me would hurt you half as much as it hurt me too. I was easy to lose, and that's the hardest part, not felt that we ended, but how lightly you let go of my heart. I don't regret loving you, I regret believing that I was harder to leave than you made me feel. I wasn't easy to love, you just didn't try. You promised you'd stay when things got heavy. You promised my heart would always be safe. You said we're forever, like it was simple, like love doesn't change when never fades. I believed every word, the way you said my name. I didn't know promises could be spoken without weight. You made promises you never meant, whispered softly in the dark. You said you'd never hurt me, then left without a scar. I built my trust on senses you never planned to keep. You made promises you never meant, and I paid for every piece. You promised honesty, but chose silence instead. You promised to listen, but turned away your head. You said I wasn't alone, even when you felt distant. You said love was patient, but you were inconsistent. I held on to your words when your actions disappeared. I was loyal to the future you were never serious about here. You made promises you never meant, like I'm not going anywhere. You said this is different, but treated me like I was rare. I trusted what you told me, not what you showed me daily. You made promises you never meant, and that's what broke me slowly. Maybe you believed them when you said them out loud. Maybe love felt real before it felt inconvenient. But I needed more than hope, I needed consistency. Love shouldn't sound beautiful and feel this empty. You made promises you never meant, and I stopped asking why. I stopped waiting for the future you let quietly die. I don't hate you for leaving, I just wish you were honest before you promised me a life you never intended to be in. Next time I hear forever, I'll listen to the actions first. I saw the signs early, I just chose not to believe. Every silence had a reason, I was too scared to leave. I called your distance busy, I called you cold stress. I kept rewriting the truth so I wouldn't have to confess. I knew something was wrong, but I loved you more than myself. I kept hoping you'd change. If I gave you enough, I stayed too long when I should've walked away. I ignored every red flag because love told me to stay. I kept choosing patience over my own pain. I stayed too long, and I'm the one who paid. I defended you in silence when my friends saw the cracks. I said he doesn't mean it, while losing parts of myself. I learned how to wait quietly for effort that never came. I mistook inconsistency for something I could change. I thought love meant endurance, I thought pain meant growth. I didn't know love fades when you're the only one holding hope. I stayed too long, listening to excuses. I stayed too long, believing empty truths. I was afraid of losing you, so I lost myself instead. I stayed too long, and I still feel it in my chest. I wasn't weak for loving you, I was tired of letting go, but staying cost me pieces I'm still learning how to hold. I forgive myself slowly for the time I couldn't leave. I didn't know self-love yet, I only knew how to believe. I stayed too long, but I learned the truth. Love shouldn't feel like waiting to be chosen to. I won't blame my heart for trying its best. I stayed too long, but I finally left. Next time I see the shades, I'll listen. Every time it mattered, you needed space. Every time I needed you, you needed a break. I've been around your comfort, I waited my turn. You called it balance while I did all the work. I told myself it was love to understand your side, but understanding you meant leaving me behind. You chose yourself again and again. You chose what was easy over what needed effort then. I chose patience, I chose us. You chose silence, you chose enough. When things got heavy, you disappeared. When I spoke my fears, you changed the subject. I learned how to pause my pain so you wouldn't feel pressed. chose yourself and let us fade away. I wasn't asking you to disappear, I was asking you to care, to meet me halfway instead of always there. I didn't lose you suddenly, I lost you in pieces every time you chose yourself over what love needed. You chose yourself, and now I see the love in you meant abandoning me. I don't hate you, I just understand that love can't survive on one person's hands. I finally stopped asking you to choose us when I realized you never would. I told everyone you were tired, that work had been too much. I said you didn't mean your words when they cut me up. I learned how to translate silence into something kind. I protected your image while you broke mine. I convinced myself love meant understanding pain. I kept explaining your absence like it was something I could change. I made excuses for you when you hurt me the most. I blamed the world so I wouldn't blame us. I carried your behavior like it was mine to fix. I made excuses for you, and it slowly ruined me. When you forgot important moments, I said he's just stressed. When you stopped showing effort, I said this isn't his best. I hid my disappointment behind loyalty. I stayed quiet in public and cried privately. I thought defending you meant protecting love. I didn't know love shouldn't need this kind of cover-up. I made excuses for you so I wouldn't feel alone. I filled the gaps of your care with hope and self-control. I let your lack of effort become my responsibility. I made excuses for you at the cost of me. If I told the truth, would I have had to leave? Was I afraid of losing you or afraid of what I'd see? I wasn't loyal to myself, I was loyal to the idea that if I loved harder, you'd finally be here. I made excuses for you, but I won't anymore. I don't need to protect someone who won't protect my heart. I forgive myself slowly for staying too long. I made excuses for you. Now I choose honesty and gone. Love shouldn't need defending. space from my feelings, like love was too loud. I learned how to pause mid-sentence so you wouldn't shut me out. I learned how to need less just to keep you around. Every time I asked for care, you called it pressure. I started feeling guilty for wanting to matter. Loving me was too much, that's what your silence said. My tears felt inconvenient, my needs felt like a threat. I wasn't asking for everything, just to be held, but loving me was too much, so you chose yourself instead. You treated my emotions like problems to escape. You said I'm not good with feelings and left me in that space. I started apologizing for being human with you, for wanting reassurance like that was something wrong to do. I thought love meant compromise, but I was the only one bending. I kept shrinking myself so you wouldn't feel overwhelmed. Loving me was too much, that's how you made it feel, like my heart was an obligation you never meant to fulfill. I wasn't asking for saving, I wasn't asking for control, but loving me was too much, so you let me go. If needing love is heavy, why did you say you cared? If I was too emotional, why did you stay there? I would have learned to hold myself if you had been honest. Instead you made me feel guilty for wanting what love promised. Loving me was too much, and that's the truth I accept. Not because I'm unlovable, but because you never stepped into the depth I lived in, into the care I gave. Loving me wasn't too much, you just weren't able to stay. I stopped apologizing for my heart the day I realized it was never the problem. You used to reach for my hand before the morning light. Now you turn your back to me like I'm not on your mind. Your voice sounds different lately, your eyes don't stay. I wake up next to someone who doesn't look my way. I keep searching for the you I used to know so well, but every answer feels like something you won't tell. You changed without telling me, without a word or a sign. I was loving who you were already someone else inside. I wake up next to a stranger in the place we used to be. You changed without telling me and left me quietly. Your laughter feels practiced, your kindness feels thin. You say you're just tired, but I know where we've been. You stopped asking about my day, stopped saying my name. I'm lying beside your body, but your heart's not the same. I tried to meet you halfway, but you kept moving back. I kept holding on to memories while you erased the map. You changed without telling me, and I blame myself instead. I kept wondering what I did while you pulled away again. I still speak to you softly, like you might come back to me. But you changed without telling me, and I'm the last to see. If you fell out of love, why didn't you say? Why did you let me sleep next to something already gone? I would have prepared my heart if I'd known the truth, but you let me keep loving someone who wasn't you. You changed without telling me, and that's what hurts the most. Not that love ended, but how slowly you let it go. I don't recognize the silence where your care used to be. You changed without telling me, and I stayed too long trying to believe the hardest goodbyes are the ones never spoken. I miss the way you listen, like my words mattered then. I miss the way you looked at me, like I was your best friend. You held my face so gently, you said I was your home. Now I wonder if I imagined every moment we were close. I keep replaying the beginning, trying to understand if you were real with me or just playing a part. I miss who you pretended to be, the version that held my hand, the one who promised forever, like he meant every plan. I fell in love with the effort, with the care I thought I saw. I miss who you pretended to be, because he never really was. You knew exactly what to say to make me feel safe. You mirrored all my softness, then let it fade away. You learned my fears and dreams like notes in a song, then disappeared quietly when loving me took too long. I don't know when it changed or if it ever existed. I just know I love something that slowly went missing. I pretended to be, the way you showed up then, before love felt conditional, before I had to pretend. I wasn't asking for perfection, just honesty. I miss who pretended to be, and that still hurts in me. If that version was real, why didn't he stay? If he wasn't, why did you show me that face? I'm grieving a person who never grew old, just a beginning so beautiful, it fooled my soul. I miss who you pretended to be, and I'm learning to let it go. Not because I stopped loving, but because I finally know that loving an illusion cost me too much of me. I miss who you pretended to be. Now I'm choosing reality. The hardest loss is losing someone who was never real. I stayed when it was messy, I stayed when it was hard, I stayed when loving you meant breaking my own guard. You stayed when it was easy, when nothing asked too much. You called it being patient, I called it giving up. I rearranged my life to keep us standing tall. You adjusted just enough so you wouldn't fall. I was loyal, you were comfortable. I chose effort, you chose minimal. I gave you depth, you gave me convenience. I was building love, you were just in it. I defended you in rooms you never entered for me. I fought for our future, you enjoyed the security. I showed up fully present even when I was tired. You showed up when it suited you, then quietly expired. I thought love meant consistency, I didn't know it could hide in comfort, in routine, and letting someone try. Promised me the world, but you let me believe that staying would mean something if I just didn't leave. I wasn't asking you to suffer, I was asking you to show up. But comfort doesn't fight for love, and that's where we gave up. I was loyal, you were comfortable, and now I see the truth in how this had to go. I don't regret my devotion, I regret where I placed it. Loyalty is beautiful when it's met with the same intent. I was loyal, you were just comfortable. I didn't need saving, I just needed you near. I was falling apart slowly, and you were right here. You saw the signs early, you heard the change in my voice, but you stayed quiet, like not choosing was a choice. I kept waiting for your hands to do something, anything. You let me break right in front of you. You watched me come undone and said nothing. You let me break like it wasn't your place, like loving me was optional, like pain needed space. I learned how to cry quietly so I wouldn't disturb the calm you needed, the comfort you preserved. I swallowed every question so you wouldn't feel blamed. I broke into pieces and you stayed the same. I wasn't asking you to fix me, I was asking you to care. You let me break, and that's what hurt the most. Not the ending, but how alone I felt with you. You let me break and turned away, like my pain was something you didn't want to name. I wonder sometimes if you noticed, if you remember my face that night when I needed you and you chose distance. You let me break, and I finally understand that love doesn't abandon what it claims to hold. You let me break, and that's when I let go. Some goodbyes happen in silence. I never played with your heart, never kept score. I loved you in real ways, I didn't hide behind doors. I said what I felt, even when it scared me. I showed up as myself, hoping you'd see me. I didn't love you perfectly, but I loved you clean. Nothing about my heart was hidden or mean. I loved you honestly, with my whole heart. No games, no pretending, no breaking you apart. I gave you my truth, even when it cost me. I loved you honestly, and that has to mean something. I didn't test your loyalty, I didn't pull away. I believed you were worse. I loved you without armor, and that still hurts. Maybe I loved deeper than you could reach, but I never regret loving sincerely. I loved you honestly, without control. I didn't need power, I just wanted us whole. I stayed open and soft, even when it broke me. I loved you honestly, and I won't apologize for it. I won't rewrite the past to make it easier now. I loved you with intention, and I know that counts. You may forget the effort, you may forget the care, but I'll always remember how real I was there. I loved you honestly, and that's where I stand. Not ashamed of my heart, not regretful of my hands. If loving you cost me, I still gave my truth. I loved you honestly, and that's enough proof. I didn't lose myself in love. I showed you exactly who I am. I never played with your heart, never kept score. I loved you in your ways, I didn't hide behind doors. I said what I felt, even when it scared me. I showed up as myself, hoping you'd see me. I didn't love you perfectly, but I loved you clean. Nothing about my heart was hidden over me. I loved you honestly, with my whole heart. No games, no pretending, no breaking you apart. I gave you my truth, even when it cost me. I loved you honestly, and that has to mean something. I didn't test your loyalty, I didn't pull away. I didn't make you jealous to make you want me to stay. I trusted you freely, I believed your words. I loved you without armor, and that still hurts. Maybe I loved deeper than you could reach, but I never regret loving sincerely. I love forget the care, but I'll always remember how real I was there. I loved you honestly, and that's where I stand. Not ashamed of my heart, not regretful of my hands. If loving you cost me, I still gave my truth. I loved you honestly, and that's enough proof. I didn't lose myself in love. I showed you exactly who I am. I've said it every way I know, soft, calm, and kind. I've tried to make my hurting easy on your mind. I chose my words carefully so you wouldn't shut me out. But somehow every explanation left me with more doubt. I kept hoping one day you'd finally understand, but understanding shouldn't take this much demand. I'm tired of explaining my pain like it needs a reason to exist. I'm tired of translating my heart into something you won't miss. I'm not asking to be fixed, I just wanna be heard. I'm tired of explaining my pain to someone who won't learn. You asked me why I was distant, why I seemed so cold, but every time I opened up, you told me to let it go. I learned how to swallow tears so conversations could stay calm, but silence doesn't heal a heart, it just teaches it to stay numb. I repeated myself until I didn't recognize my voice. I didn't know being honest could feel like the wrong choice. I'm tired of explaining my pain in circles that don't move. I'm tired of proving my hurt like it needs your approval too. I don't want perfect answers, I don't want you to save me. I just needed empathy, not advice that blamed me. If you cared, you feel it without me begging you to see. I shouldn't have to bleed in words for you to believe me. I'm not dramatic, I'm not weak, I'm just exhausted from being unseen. I'm tired of explaining my pain and being told it's too much. I'm tired of needing comfort from someone who won't touch. So stop trying to convince you of what I feel inside. I'm tired of explaining my pain. So tonight I choose my quiet. Some people don't misunderstand you, they just don't wanna listen. Didn't wake up hating you. I woke up feeling tired of giving all my love away and never be required. I still care in quiet ways that won't disappear, but loving you was costing me everything I needed here. I stayed longer than I should, I tried harder than I could, but love shouldn't feel like drowning just to prove it's good. I chose me this time, not because love died, but because I was fading, trying to survive. I didn't stop loving you, I just stopped losing me. I chose me this time, so I could finally breathe. I learned how to leave gently without slamming doors. I learned that staying silent was hurting me more. I carried enough for 2 hearts, I don't need to anymore. I'm not walking away in anger, I'm walking toward my core. I forgive us both quietly for what we couldn't be. I release the version of us that only lived in me. I chose me this time with shaking hands. I chose my peace over broken plans. I didn't stop believing in love, I just changed who I give it to. I chose me this time, and that's the bravest thing I could do. If love comes back someday, you won't ask me to disappear. You won't make me feel guilty for needing care and reassurance. I'm not closing my heart, I'm protecting it now. I chose me this time, and I'm allowed. I chose me this time, and I'm learning to stand not here, more fearless, just holding my own hand. I'll carry love with me, but not in my expense. I chose me this time, and that's how survival begins. Leaving can be an act of love for yourself. I still wake up heavy, some mornings feel the same. Your name still lives in places I can't erase, but I don't reach for my phone, I don't wait for your sound. I cry for what I lost in me, not for you now. I used to believe healing meant you coming back. Now I know healing means not looking back. moving through. The tears aren't asking for you to stay. I'm still crying, just not that way. I miss the version of myself who thought love would save her. I miss believing effort could make someone stay. I'm learning how to hold myself when nights feel too long. I don't need your arms anymore to feel strong. I stopped waiting for closure from someone who couldn't give it. I stopped asking you to heal me when you were part of the damage. I'm still crying, but not for you. These tears are mine, and they're telling the truth. I'm not begging for answers, I'm not chasing your name. I'm still crying, but I'm healing in the rain. I loved you deeply, and that part still aches, but I don't need you to feel okay. I'll carry the lessons, I'll leave the rest. I'm still broken, just not obsessed. I'm still crying, and that's alright. Healing isn't linear, it comes in waves at night. I'm not waiting for you to make me new. I'm still crying, just not for you. Some tears are grief, others are relief. I don't wake up angry anymore. I wake up quiet, like the storm finally passed, but left the sky changed. I still feel the ache sometimes. It hasn't disappeared, but it doesn't control me now. It just reminds me I was here. I stopped asking why it ended. I stopped rewriting the past. Some answers don't bring peace, they just slow the steps ahead. I know my worth now, even when I feel weak. I don't need to be chosen to know what I deserve to be. I loved with my whole heart, I didn't lose somehow. I may still be healing, but I know my worth now. I don't wish you harm, I don't wish you back. I wish myself gentleness on the days I still collapse. I learned love is improving by how much pain you endure. Love should feel like safety, not something you survive for. I won't carry shame anymore for loving honestly. That was never my failure, that was my integrity. I know my worth now, without anger or pride. I don't need revenge to feel justified. I gave everything I could, and that counts somehow. I may not be whole yet, but I know my worth now. I won't harden my heart to protect it. I won't shrink myself to be loved. If love comes again, it will meet me here, where I stand in my truth and don't disappear. I know my worth now, even on the days I ache, even when the silence still follows my name. This isn't victory, this isn't a vow. It's just me still standing, knowing my worth now. I didn't lose love, I learned how